Welcome back, Notables.
I'd like you to recognize that you are in the default mode 46.9% of the time. That's half of your day. You find yourself in autopilot mode. There are two modes in the way your brain functions: the default mode and the direct mode. The default I refer to as autopilot. It's akin to the day when your thoughts drift, when you're on autopilot and you navigate through your day without conscious thought. The direct mode, on the other hand, is where you're present, fully engaged in the moment and in control of your thoughts. You have a choice: either repeat your current thought patterns or evolve them. Then there's your capacity to consciously select what you focus on. Recognize that becoming a deliberate thinker is a skill, one that I urge you to master. It's not an isolated event, it's a continuous process. Negative and constraining beliefs ingrained in your default mode need repetition to alter. You have aspirations and goals in your life, but when you contemplate these changes, you often start to exaggerate. You start worrying and fixate on why these changes won't materialize. This is common, as someone in your past may have conditioned you to think this way, or you've experienced numerous setbacks, leading you to anticipate a perpetual stream of misfortunes. Bad things will happen. That's a fact of life. However, if you habitually default to expecting negative outcomes, thinking you're inadequate, unworthy, or doomed, these thoughts become your default mode of thinking. Scientists refer to this as the default mode network, a network of neurons automating certain mental processes. This network is essential for handling daily tasks that require minimal thinking. However, detrimental thinking patterns become entrenched in your default mode network. Perhaps your default is to believe, I'm a fraud, I'm a failure, I'm unlikable, no one cares about me, or I'm unlovable. Recognize that much like I can switch from being right-handed to left-handed, you can transition from defaulting to negative thinking to consciously choosing your thoughts. It's a process, not an isolated occurrence. It necessitates shifting from autopilot mode, where you naturally reach for the pen with your right hand, to deliberately directing your thoughts towards grasping the pen with your left hand. Initially, your handwriting may appear messy and unfamiliar. It will feel awkward. Similarly, altering your thought patterns from defaults to positive, supportive, optimistic, and full of potential requires effort. It's the process of reshaping mental habits. There's no alternative. It can be achieved just as you can teach yourself to write with your non-dominant hand. Transitioning from default to being deliberate entails moving from autopilot mode, which is beneficial in certain situations but detrimental when working against you, to direct, conscious thinking. Your thought patterns are the primary impediment. Changing these patterns will indeed change your life. I firmly believe that thinking is a choice. You can either persist with your established thought patterns this year or evolve them. Changing your thinking will undeniably transform your life. Our aim is to instruct you on becoming a more deliberate thinker. Think this way, not that way. What are your limiting beliefs? These are thoughts about yourself, potentially shaped by your parents, a past relationship, or setbacks. Now that you've identified these beliefs, consider what they have cost you. Write down your limiting beliefs. I often see expressions such as, I'm not good enough, my mental health is a barrier, I can't succeed in business, I'm unproductive and inept, I'm not in good health, financial struggles, or I fear failure. What limiting belief do you possess? Once you've noted your belief, whether it's a fear of failure, a feeling of undeserving success, or other beliefs, your next step is to determine their past and present costs. However, don't overlook the crucial question. What will it cost you in the future if you don't make a deliberate shift in your thinking? You can't discard your default mode until you've identified it. Now that you've recognized it, understand that your lifelong responsibility is to intercept it. When your default mode resurfaces, whispering that you're too old, not intelligent enough, or unworthy, that's the moment you must initiate a mindset reset. Remember, this isn't divine intervention. It's an old programming that defaults to negativity. You don't have to endure a life where you repeatedly engage in self-deprecating dialogue. It's a profound realization, but the key is to get intentional about your thinking. If you don't, you'll remain trapped in default thinking mode. Reprogramming your default thinking mode into one that is positive, courageous, and loving necessitates 2 steps: identifying the negative default and redirecting it towards a deliberate thought. Instead of thinking, "No one likes me," as your default, due to your belief that you're a bad person, reframe it to, "The right people appreciate me." This shift in perspective can be incredibly empowering. If you habitually say, "I'm too old," replace it with, "I have ample time," or "I possess valuable experience guaranteeing my success." Likewise, if you default to, "I'm too young," rephrase it to reflect the advantages of your youth. The bottom line is that if your default mode leans towards negativity, don't accept it. Instead, recognize it when it surfaces and consciously steer your thoughts toward a positive direction. There you have it, notables. Check the linked pins on the first comment to get more knowledge. Till next time,
Peace.